beyond a fallen Oni into a mirror into
Oh,
another
and he
fallen
hits
Oni.
the war cry to Karya. Wow, I mean, not that I love this card or anything. I'm still not. Welcome everyone back to Season 5, Week 6 of the Eternal Tournament Series. We got another exciting match for you in Round 5. I am Calimdir, also known as Gabe, and I'm joined by my co-caster LocoPojo.
Hey, welcome guys. We got Mouche's Big Combre today up against ECV's Firetime Justice Control. A lot of slow control decks with Martial Ironthorn, and we are seeing Ikaria and Heart of the Vault in ECV's as the big finishers. Ikaria and Heart of the Vault together is a pretty fun combination.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty difficult to cast, that's for sure. That's a triple of each influence required in this deck, Firetime Justice. But we've seen people have success with it in the past, so I'm excited. Notorious GHP did very well with it in another tournament, so I'm excited to see how this matchup plays out.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the find the ways here on both sides. They're certainly going to help them get that influence requirement. We are seeing Sandstorm Titans, Ironthorn's Ascendants in the big Combre deck. This is a very straightforward list. It doesn't have any sort of major finishers. It's just running Seraph and Parliament and all of the standard cards in big Combre that tend to win out the game all on their own. So on the other side, ECV's FTJ Control is also running Great Parliament. We have some Rise to the Challenges in there to pick out particular cards that he needs, and he's got a lot of more additional value. The trade-off will be in reliability, so we'll see if ECV can pick up the right influence to make the deck work against the other sort of more reliable deck that's running the straight Combre.
Yeah, Big Combre, a very powerful deck, running Mystic Ascendants, Martial Ironthorns, a lot of the staple big powerful cards, but FTJ trades some of that for the versatility of Rise to the Challenge and having, a wider variety of late game stuff. So we'll see. We've seen a lot of this type of deck with the Ikaria gold variants and stuff, so should be good. Who do you think is favored in this matchup?
Of the two, I'm actually kind of in favor of the sort of big Praxis deck. I think that because Combre tends to give you a lot of time to get set up, unless Mouche is establishing the Seraph Sandstorm Titan curve that we're seeing right here and pushing on ECV to win the game early, ECV has a little bit more just late game value in the form of the Heart of the Vaults, the Ikarias, and just like the general red stuff that he can generate.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. ECV doesn't have Mystic Ascendants, but he does have Heart of the Vault, and he's got the Rise to the Challenges, which I think will help, especially Ikaria will help a lot. I think being able to draw the card immediately off of Heart of the Vault versus Mystic Ascendant, and both of them having Harsh Rule, will ultimately gain ECV more value as they clear boards back and forth.
Yep, it's going to be, if Mouche manages to land a Mystic Ascendant for more than one turn, or even like a Seraph or a Martial Ironthorn, that could be a really big deal. But these guys are going to be trading blows pretty frequently, and we'll see exactly how much damage it's going to overall amount to. One thing that is really working well on Mouche's side is he has this Stand Together, which is going to help him out against the Harsh Rule. And if you can actually counter a Harsh Rule with Stand Together, that's going to be a really solid way to set up your board.
Yeah, I didn't consider Stand Together. Mouche has two Stand Togethers main board, which I'm actually leaning towards him being favored in the matchup just off of Stand Together because of how absurd that card is versus board wipes, especially versus a deck that is relying on board wipes.
Yeah, ECV has the option to cast the Harsh Rule here. It seems like he's going to pass on that, and that means that Mouche is pretty likely to be able to have the Stand Together against any further Harsh Rule incursions. It's really hard to say what Mouche is going to be building towards at this moment. He's got his 6th power, but after that happens, he doesn't have anything really playable to sort of influence the board and push for the late game. He's just stalling out at the moment, and if ECV can create something proactive, that might help him out a lot.
Yeah, I think he just plays the Seraph out here just because it allows him to leave up Stand Together, and it's fairly proactive as long as he continues drawing power. We don't know what's in ECV's hand. We don't know if he has the Harsh Rule or if he's going to be playing Mystic Ascendants outs in a second, but we'll see. This attack is interesting. How do you feel about it?
It's baiting the Sandstorm Titan for the stand together, and like you do want to play the stand together early if you can. Like there's a lot of disadvantage to playing it, like to just holding it for Harsh Rule, because A, your opponent might actually know you have it and like wait for the opportunity where it's perfect to like deal with it. But B, like you just also have to leave 3 power available every turn, which means that you're sacrificing a lot of the potential board value that you can build. Mouche wants to win this game early because he just has like, he has a lot of decent value cards in the late game. He has a lot more value if he can actually push some life damage on ECV this turn. So we see this block, a Sand Together will come down, and then the Sandstorm Titans will trade with each other, leaving Mouche with 4 units with Aegis on them and a very commanding board.
Yeah, so this Stand Together is a huge blowout, putting Mouche in a insanely ahead on the board. He's basically killing the Sandstorm Titan for free because the Stand Together is a card on its own. The other thing, though, was that had ECV had Desert Marshal to try and go for a triple block to kill Sandstorm Titan, it still wouldn't have been enough. The Aegis or Stand Together would have put it to 10. But anyways, here comes the Harsh Rule, taking out the Sandstorm Titan and removing the Aegises.
Yep, if ECV has another Harsh Rule to back it up, he can stabilize the board and start getting himself into a slightly better situation. He needs to play something down here, and another Sandstorm Titan will do it, except that there's a Vanquish in Mouche's hand. So that's another 9 damage to the face, putting ECV at 5. And with that out, it's going to be really, really hard for him to recover.
Yeah, ECV really needs another Harsh Rule, and even if he plays another Harsh Rule, like Mouche has threats to play out. He can draw power. He'll be doing fine, and ECV just needs to slip up for 1 turn because he's at 5 health.
Yeah, that Stand Together is very, very good in the mirror, and in particular against any other type of big Combre deck that's running Harsh Rule. It's just a real big blowout card, especially when you're playing as the beatdown, which is definitely Mouche's role in this particular setup. ECV gets to play down 2 Seraphs, and that will allow him some decent blocks here, but he'll also go to 1 damage if he takes the most optimal blocks, and with a Desert Marshal, I don't think the most optional blocks are going to be the options that he gets. Now he's got to block a Seraph and also a 3/3, and he'll still go to 1, and that leaves a lot of stuff on the board for him.
Yeah, this is I don't know that he has a way out of it outside of Harsh Rule.
Harsh Rule's the big answer. Mouche doesn't have the second Stand Together in hand. However, he does have a lot of decent recovery tools. The second Seraph is probably an unnecessary play at this point, seeing as ECV's only out is Harsh Rule, but we'll see.
I mean, maybe he's playing around like a ton of blockers being thrown out.
Double blocker wouldn't be a terrible situation. But Rise to the Challenge picking up... Oh, what could he pick up? Combre Healer might do it. That's a 4/2. It gets him a little bit of health back and allows him a better block against the Seraph. That puts him, however, at 4 on board, so that's not going to be enough.
Nope, that doesn't do it. Mouche would have had to have misclicked and played Harsh Rule. That was his only out there for ECV. But obviously that doesn't happen, and we go 1-0 for Mouche, playing Combre aggro there against Fire Time Justice mid-range.
Yeah, Mouche's sort of beatdown focused strategy is very, very good here, and I think missing the Stand Togethers was definitely, yeah, it is correct. That card is definitely the big influencer in making sure that this deck works. It means that Mouche can play the beatdown in this version and like actually actively win that round. It doesn't go into value beats where the Heart of the Vaults become relevant and the Icarias become relevant. So ECV has to find some way around those Harsh Rules, or he just has to make sure that Mouche doesn't play them. Mouche has 2 protects in his sideboards that could potentially come in to help out with the beatdown. I don't think Vodacon's coming in or anything crazy to increase the overall value, since overall it looks like Mouche is probably going to be looking for the more aggressive style.
I feel like okay, so who do you think should keep in Harsh Rules? Do you think both players should keep in Harsh Rules? Do you think both players should take them out, or one should keep them in, one should take them out? Because that's I think the biggest change that we'll see in how this matchup is played.
If Mouche wants to cut some of the Harsh Rules for an Awakened student or 4, that'll really help him out in becoming the more aggressive style of deck. However, they are a hard card to let go of. They're very big safety valves against the big Praxis deck, if the Praxis deck starts getting enough Heart of the Vaults to really get its value down. I think that Mouche would probably be safe to get rid of the Harsh Rules and go for the Awakened students and Vanquishes instead. He's got enough sort of stuff to deal with the large units, stuff to be the aggressor. That's certainly one potential route that he can take it. There is also the alternative, and that would give him a pretty even chance of winning, I think, if he wants to go the slow route and play Vodakins and Harsh Rules together and just try and like outvalue the deck. But I think that's more of a coin toss.
I don't think Vodacon and Harsh Rule end up in the same deck. I feel like if you want the Harsh Rules, you don't have space to put in Vodacons, and if you want the Vodacons against the dirtily time mid-range matchups where you're going to be in board stalls.
It depends on like what your late game is. I think it's perfectly reasonable, but certainly not going to be coming in on Mouche's side. This seems very likely to be sort of the aggressive style.
Yeah, I think he brings in the Awakened students, takes out the Harsh Rules, and just becomes the aggressor. The more I think about this matchup, I think Mouche is really Mouche on Big Combre is really favored, just because at every point on the power curve, Mouche is either up in power, like as far as like Awakened Student being a more powerful card than anything that ECV is going to be playing on 2, or he's even, right? Mystic Ascendant is about even with Heart of the Vault. And his power is just more consistent.
Yeah, ECV in the meantime can actually lower his curve if he wants to. He can cut cards like Ikaria and Shatterglass Mage and start moving in on more Great Parliaments, his own Stand Together, and the Combre Healers to help him like sort of stall out into that late game. Xenon Initiation is a pretty decent card on Sandstorm Titan, since it makes your Sandstorm Titan kill your opponent's Sandstorm Titan. And the Vanquishes, of course, are pretty good stuff. There's a lot of better sideboards, I would say, for ECV to come in this board. If he can organize his deck appropriately, he might have a better chance of stalling out and getting to that late game value. But he does have to deal with a lot of large threats, and that's not an easy thing to do. So it's going to be pretty hard to recover if the aggro deck gets on curve and the aggro deck gets its stand together.
Yeah, players are getting into the match now. I don't know. I think if ECV is forced to bring in Combre Healers, he's just losing that at that point, because Combre Healer, sure, stops the aggression, but you're stopping the aggression against a deck that's playing Martial Iron Thorns and Mystic Ascendants, and you're just eventually going to lose to that.
Yeah, I mean, both decks certainly have their late game finishers, and those are certainly going to be determining factors if it gets into a brawl out. I think ECV has a few more late game finishers in the form of the Great Parliaments and Icarius, but he's only got 2 Great Parliaments, so there are some ways in which that doesn't work out for him. Who gets the big beaters is going to be kind of a big deal, and ECV could shift into a more aggressive format himself and try to be the beatdown.
Yeah, definitely. I think overall, if we count like every late game card, I think Mouche is like up by 2 or something like that, but it's very close.
Yep, we have Diplomatic Seal here playing out some green, and that means that, yeah, I mean, like at this point, Mouche is able to play his Iron Thorns pretty easily. He doesn't have anything to do on his first couple of turns, which is not great for like keeping the late game from happening, but it's possible he can win on the late game, especially with these Iron Thorns pushing out extra amounts of power for Great Parliament.
So I actually have both players on my friends list, I've just noticed. So I'm going to take a quick peek over at ECV's hand, since we can't see it. He's got in his hand, he's got 2 Fire Sigils, a Justice Sigil, a Seraph, a Desert Marshal, and a Martial Ironthorn. So I think he's probably going to be looking to play out this Seraph next turn, and then try and play Ironthorn hopefully on 6, since he does have the other remaining 3 power in his hand, so he can get right up to 7. And he draws another time sigil, so he's just stuck on Ironthorn, Seraph, Marshall.
Yeah, neither player has strong removal in their hands, which means that these Iron Thorns are going to be taking over the game and actually getting a lot of the value that they want to get. Mouche has just drawn a Mystic Ascendant, which means that he has a very good combination if he plays Iron Thorn on 4 or 5, or 5 or 6 rather, and then plays the Mystic Ascendant after. His turns 6 and 7 are looking extremely good, and he has all of the power he needs to actually play those units down on board.
Yeah, absolutely. Double Ironthorn versus and a Mystic Ascendant versus a single Ironthorn. I feel like as this game goes on, Mouche just becomes incredibly favored, especially with the Protect backup.
Yeah, we see Martial Ironthorns coming down here pretty likely. The Voice of the Speaker is available, which allows him to draw extra power if he wants it, but it seems like with Ironthorn, Mystic Ascendant being his next available plays, Voice of the Speaker isn't going to be terribly helpful this turn, unless he decides to play it down before the first Ironthorn, which he chooses not to play anything this turn.
So I was feeling Mouche, just because Mouche has all of the, all the questions but I think ECV's kind of got all the answers. He plays the Vanquish, but he drew a Vanquish and he's got 2 Desert Marshals. And I think after all the cards are played, just based on what's in hands, ECV will have an active Seraph available, and everyone will just have a bunch of silenced units. So we'll see.
Is going to be able to draw off of that Mystic Ascendant. He's got a Protect available for his Martial Ironthorn, which is at least 1 Desert Marshal out of the board. So like this is going to be a pretty tricky situation. Ironthorn number 1 means that he gets Protect. Ironthorn number 2 means he has Stand Together. And if he can play the Stand Together on a Mystic Ascendant or an Ironthorn, that's going to help him secure the late game a little bit and hopefully get a big explosive board against Seraph. But with all of the answers in ECV's hand, it's going to be hard to say exactly what comes out. Voice of the Speaker is being played here, which means that the Martial Ironthorn is due for a silence.
Yeah, I think ECV is going to silence, or he's going to play his own Ironthorn and then potentially try and silence the opponent's Ironthorn. But if that's the case, the second Desert Marshal is going to be blocked by that Protect. And so Mystic Ascendant is going to go unanswered. And the second Mystic Ascendant from Mouche. Yeah, I think it's going to be, I don't know. I don't know how ECV gets out of this, but we'll find out.
Yeah, Mouche does not have a power this turn, which means he is going to have some issues with actually getting anything started. Anything he plays down is vulnerable to silences, and he really wants to get the Ironthorn Ascendant combo together if he can put both of them down. It's possible he plays Ascendant here and just relies on the Protect to hold it, and that will hold it against 1 Desert Marshal, as well as allowing him to play the Martial Ironthorn down later on.
Yeah, so ECV has drawn some threats of his own. In his hand, he's got the second Desert Marshal, as we said, and then his last 2 draws were Great Parliament, Martial Ironthorn. That is a threatening board.
Yep, it's looking pretty scary. ECV can activate his Seraphs and get some pretty decent value out on the board. Mouche still not finding a good answer for the Mystic Ascendant, or like Mouche has the Mystic Ascendant, but if that gets answered, that's also a problem. I think ECV has a basic issue here where he can either play his Seraph 8-drop, or he can play Desert Marshal and try and stop Mystic Ascendant from actually taking over the board. He's going to rely on Mouche not drawing a power this turn and actually go for the Delir's favored Seraph, which gets him a power at the very least.
Yeah.
And double power means that he can Desert Marshal and get the Mystic Ascendant. So that actually wasn't a bad Seraph hit for him.
That was a really interesting Seraph hit. So yeah, there's the Protect. So Mouche is favored if he draws power, but okay, well, he drew the seed. But I was going to say ECV's out is Mouche just blanking on power for a few turns?
Yeah, there's an interesting thing here where Mouche can play Ironthorn and get 2 draws, but he will not be able to play Stand Together if that happens. He could also go for 2 draws off of the Mystic Ascendants and just like play both of them, but again, no Stand Together there. If he wants to, he can also just stay put this turn, draw a single card, and then set down Martial Ironthorn next turn with a Stand Together up against the Harsh Rule, because now that you've got the Ironthorn Ascendant combo, that Harsh Rule is pretty likely to come out. We know that ECV doesn't have it, so it's going to be a pretty rough game for him from here on out. But we are seeing the Vodakins coming in from Mouche, and they are in
I think he went into I think he took out the Harsh Rules and sided into like Awakened Student Vodacom, big boy late game package. Might even have just not put in the Awakened Students. I think he's just going for that Vodacombo finish, which I think is very powerful in these time in range matchups. ECV just drawing a Temple Scribe here.
Yeah, at this point, Mouche is just going to basically blow the board completely out. He gets to play a Vodakan, play a Time Sigil, draw 2 cards. All of his power has Destiny and draws 2 cards. And if he hits even 1, that's going to be an absolutely disgusting board, regardless of whether or not he hits when he has Stand Together up. So ECV needs to silence or kill some part of this board. And if he doesn't manage to do it, then it's going to be a really rough turn.
The funny thing is, ECV has 2 Ironthorns out and is at 13 power, which means that if he draws an undepleted power next turn, he has 2 active Ironthorn ultimates. Now, sure, Vodacon is very threatening, and Stand Together will block the first one, but potentially if Mouche doesn't go
doesn't draw a power next turn and can't go off with the combo. Oh, unless he just gets the 15 power right
Yeah,
here.
no,
All right.
the combo is definitely going off. Iron Thorn's going to kill both of the other Iron Thorns after the stand together, and it's quite possible that Mouche will be able to Iron Thorn and kill the board this turn. Valkyrie Enforcer is a pretty cool play, but he actually has to discard it. He plays out his first power of the turn, it looks like, and with a Seat of Progress, playing out even more power. Find the Way is also going to draw him cards. He doesn't have to discard that Seek power, so he's got a fairly infinite combo at this point. He didn't draw enough power to ultimate, so he'll probably just play a Seek power and Find the Way again. Oh, no, there's the Dip of Seals.
Yeah, I was going to say, he has 16 up for me.
Yeah, that looks like it's going to be a full 16, and that means he gets to Iron Thorn the entire board. He's still got Stand Together as an available option. I think that this is going to be game for ECV.
Yep, that's going to be it. He sideboarded into Voto combo, which is just really good in these matchups, especially when ECV takes out Harsh Rule.
There's Mouche's Harsh Rule. So we see that getting discarded, and Iron Thorn going to go ahead and blow the board up. That's looking like it's going to be game. If Mouche wants to, he can Seek power here and try and pick up a little additional power for the Stand Together, because he doesn't want to ultimate the board and not have just nothing to play. Oh, another Iron Thorn coming out.
Interesting choice. I mean,
because...
I think he's afraid of the one-up Stand Together.
Yeah, I actually like this play. This actually means that he gets to hold up his own Stand Togethers, which he has 2 of, and he gets to answer Iron Thorn. He doesn't have to blow up the board this turn, and he chooses to Seek power here, getting triple draws. At this point, Mouche might actually be at risk at killing himself.
I think he can activate Iron Thorn again.
Oh yeah, he can activate. Well, he can activate Iron Thorn, but his Mystic Ascendant can't attack this turn, so it's possible that he could draw die. He's not going to get any more units played out on the board, so if he draws too many units, he might actually lose. A lot of Destiny playing, but he's mostly discarding these cards.
The Mystic Ascendant can play this turn, right? Either the Votocon or the Mystic Ascendant. One of them was played last turn, so he definitely has lethal if he activates Iron Thorn. I don't remember which one. He didn't play both
attack this turn. If ECV has a Desert Marshal, which I don't think he does, right? He's played both of them.
He does not. Let me go check his last card really quickly.
I believe he said it was a. Oh gosh.
My friends list moved, and now I'm watching Haidar, who's doing very well in his game. In case anyone's wondering.
Yeah, so we're seeing seals. There's a Harsh Rule out there, and
last card is Parliament. So rip.
Yeah, an ultimate here does win the game, even if Mouche draws his entire deck. That's just insult to injury at this point. This is a very risky play, just on account of the fact that if there is a Desert Marshal, that's going to be game. But there we go.
Yep, and that's it, 2-0 for Mouche. And that's a matchup that we originally looked at and we're like, oh, the 3-faction deck in the control mirror should be favored. It's going to have more options. But you think about it, Big Combre sliding into Votocon, nobody's going to be doing anything more powerful than that as far as, these big mid-range / control mirrors. Like the Votocon, Mystic Ascendant, Iron Thorn, that's it. That's the peak power level we're looking at outside of some kind of ridiculous Vera shenanigans.
Yeah, Mouche won the first game by being the beatdown, which was very, very useful for him. But overall, he with the Mystic Ascendants in his deck, he does actually have additional value as well. Like the Praxis deck is only running the Heart of the Vaults, and that means that it doesn't have as much consistent value as the Big Combre deck. You need the Mystic Ascendants in there as well in order to outvalue Big Combre. So Big Combre wins the day on both of those games, and yeah, it's looking like a pretty solid day for Mouche.
Yeah. So I think we have a backup match coming for you, which should be Lv13David versus Qwertzy. I am expecting them in game right now, but let's see if we can get the Steam stream up. And the players are currently tied 1-1.
Okay, this is looking pretty cool. Level 13 David is running Fire Time Primal midrange. He's got 2 Crystallizes in the deck, 4 Sursos, 4 Sandstorm Titans, 2 Praxis Displacers, and 4 Heart of the Vault. So we got this sort of mix of Praxis and Elysian to really sort of set up and push down the board. It's going to be kind of an interesting day. And Qwertzy is running just straight Xenon, Vara the Fate Touch, Stray into Shadow, Steward of the Past, and Katra the Devoted with a bunch of activators, including Ion the Abductor, Vara's Favor, and just a couple of other like little life gain cards. There's even 1 Champion of Mystery in this deck. This is an interesting little list.
I actually quite like Champion of Mystery and Xenon. I've come to see the value in it, but I don't like it more than Mystic Ascendant. I feel like you run Champion of Mystery when you already have 4 Mystic Ascendants and you want more. Whereas here he's running 3 Mystic Ascendant, a Vera, and a Champion of Mystery, which I'm not sure what the purpose of that is, but I think it's interesting.
There's a lot of 3s and 2s in this deck, which is either the sign of careful tuning or like not having quite enough cards. We see the Dark Returns all set up, and I mean the Vara of Fate Touch is kind of an interesting answer. It looks like they're going into game 3. Level 13 David has a Torch in hand and a Heart of the Vault on top, along with another one in the hand. So he's going to be able to play some pretty decent stuff. And if he can actually get to those Heart of the Vaults, that should be a very good deal for him. The one thing about David's deck is that he is not capable of necessarily playing Heart of the Vault consistently on turn 6, just because it's hard to generate triple fire and triple time in a 3-color deck.
Yeah, for sure. I think this FTP midrange deck versus the Praxis midrange deck, versus Praxis midrange, I think it's designed to be like a mirror breaker, right? Because Surso is very good against these time mid-range deck. It's kind of how Voda combo is supposed to be good against Praxis, like our time mid-range decks. Voda combo maybe not as good against the burn out of traditional Praxis, but Surso can just attack through and crystallize, gets you lethal. So it's kind of the best of both worlds from Elysian mid-range and Praxis. The downside is obviously the consistency of the influence. And then I think the 4 rock slides, did you touch on that? That's a really interesting addition there.
Yeah, the 4 rock slides are a pretty cool addition if you're anti-aggro, if you're trying to figure out some way to get past like tokens or some of the other stuff. It's also a very flexible card in these situations where you can actually play it out and get a lot of value. David choosing to pass on his Temple Scribe this turn. He's going to just hold up Torch or something, and then he's not really capable of doing anything this turn except torching the Initiate.
Yeah, which he should have done beforehand to prevent the Storm from coming down this turn if that was his plan. The reason I like Rock Slide so much is because Storm is the other anti-aggro card you normally be running, and Storm kills your Initiates, your Temple Scribes, your Amber Acolytes and stuff, and Rock Slide doesn't do that.
Yep, it's always nice when you can get that particular setup going. Okay, so David choosing to hold the Temple Scribe so that he always has a torch up. He just wants the torch up for any sort of problem that's going to come out. I think he wants to be able to torch Katra the turn that she comes out.
Oh, yeah.
But it's kind of hard to say exactly what the overall plan is. He knows he's not going to play anything on turn 3, so there's no real reason not to do it. Oh, he's got the torch for the Ion.
Yeah, I was going to say Ion and Katra are the 2 big targets.
Yeah, so we're seeing some very careful conservative play from David, like keeping that torch up at all times for Ion to make sure that there's no life gained and no advantage wreaked from the Ion. And when that happens, that means that there's not going to be any sort of Katra plays. There's not going to be any life force activations. As long as he can keep the Ions down, that's really going to help him out. And he's not going to play quite so conservatively with the Sandstorm Titan. It's just the best unit to play right now, so he's going to put it on.
Yeah, so now that I'm taking a better look at the deck list, I mean, they're in sideboard, so I don't know what sideboard cards have come in and out, but I think that as the game goes on, I think David is favored, despite Qwertzy having, Vera, Mystic Ascendant, Champion of Mystery. Those are all very powerful late game cards for sure. I think that David is more favored because his turnaround, he can bring in Carnosaurs, bring in Mystic Ascendants from his sideboard, and then his turnaround is to just immediately win the game. Whereas Qwertzy's turnaround is like, okay, well, now I'm getting card advantage. David can just stall the game out, play out units, block stuff, not worry about board wipe. Stray is like, I guess it's annoying, but it doesn't actually kill anything important. And then eventually you just draw Crystallize and you win the game. But this Lv13 Falchion, really interesting here in this. Wow, well, Lv13 Falchion is a really cool include.
It's pretty fun here. He gets to put it on the steward. The steward turns into a pig, and then the pig kills Surso, which gains him 6 life. David's going to hold for 1 turn here because if he basically if he blocks with the Surso next turn, the pig turns into a 6/3 pig, and then he can torch it and prevent life gain and get a little bit of damage out of that. In the meantime, he's setting up his influence for the Heart of the Vault. That's really going to help him out. And hopefully he can hold against this steward. That life swing is definitely a big deal, but if he can kill Qwertzy's steward this turn, that's going to put him back on top as far as board is concerned.
So the reason I like the Lv13 Falchion so much in this sideboard is because of its synergy with Catra.
Yeah, it's certainly a nice activator for Catra, and it's just a generally good card if you're trying to push a bunch of units through that have decent evasion. David attacking with the Surso here. Of course, the initiates can block, but that's only going to turn them into pigs and prevent like 2 damage from the overwhelm. So there's just no good block there for Qwertzy. Qwertzy going to take some damage. Blister Sting Wasp is not an answer to Surso, and David has the run of the board at the moment, although certainly having 3 units means that he's going to have a few more issues.
Oh man, David really feeling the consequences of his 3 faction list here. Not able to play this Heart of the Vault. He's got 3 of them now. Can't warp it off the top of his deck just because he doesn't have the 3rd fire influence. And Qwertzy electing not to leave back the initiates to triple block the Surso because he would just go down to 3 power, right? He's only at 5 thanks to the help of these 2 initiates, so he wouldn't be able to cast anything. But he does draw the Seek power here, getting him the 2nd time and putting him at 4 even if he loses the initiate. So he might feel more comfortable blocking now.
Yeah, it's not looking like Qwertzy has a great setup here. This is going to be a bit rough for him. With the Sandstorm Titan out, David can hold on to his torches and just continue to attack in and get some damage out. But he knows that he's not going to have a defensive board against that Sandstorm Titan next turn because his next draw is an unplayable card. So he probably has to stay put with Surso this turn, just hold out against the Titan, hope that Qwertzy doesn't have a removal card. And if that happens, he can be pretty good on defense.
Yeah, and that torch is gonna take care of that Catra, hopefully. Oh, never mind, Temple Scribe. So there's actually no window for Lv13David to kill Catra there.
Yeah, if it had been in Vara's
Catra
favor,
now.
he would have had a chance, but Temple Scribe does not give him a window. So he chooses to torch the initiate here, prevent a little bit of damage, and now he has a Permafrost for Catra, which is not a perfect answer for that card to be certain, but at least it sort of gets him along. If he wants to attack here, it's pretty bad news. Basically, everything turns into pigs. Some of the pigs might even survive, and then yeah, that's looking pretty rough.
Block 1 unit, but definitely. Yeah. So Catra loses a little bit of value against Surso because the buffs don't matter. Your pigs don't retain the buffs, and a 2nd Catra. Holy moly!
Yeah, we see a Legion banner for David. He's looking at he needs that 3rd red to get the Heart of the Vaults out. And if he starts getting those out, he can kill the Initiates, kill the Temple Scribes. But if Qwertzy gains any life this turn, a lot of his potential value goes away. All he's going to be able to do is to hit his opponent for like the face damage off of Heart of the Vault and draw a cheap card, which isn't a really amazing thing to be doing here. I Am the Abductor is not actually a good card in this situation. It doesn't really help him in any particular fashion because Surso just transforms it and there's no lifesteal off of that. He will be able to attack with a bunch of units this turn, which is going to make Surso pretty stressed out. But it's going to be rough if he wants to attack because he will lose some units to just the Sursos.
Yeah, and I think David is just forced to play the Mystic Ascendant out for tempo reasons because he really needs to make a comeback once he starts getting the fire influence. He's not going to have time to be holding stuff back. He's just in such a he's teetering on the edge here.
Yeah, the point that David draws his fire is the point where the game starts to turn, and if it doesn't turn fast enough, then he's in a lot of trouble. Qwertzy playing his own Mystic Ascendant, and David Temple Scribing for the Fire Sigil. He's got it.
There it is.
That means he can hit the Initiative Sands. He gets a card draw for that, and in addition to that, like he's quite capable of killing a lot of stuff on the opposing board. Mystic Ascendant is still a big deal here, but with the card draw off of the initiation, we also have the Xenon initiation to kill something if he wants to. He can kill a Catra, he can kill an Ion, and he can pick up a little bit of damage on top of that. I think that's probably the play
Yeah.
here, since then he can crystallize and maybe even take the board. This looks like
Isn't
18,
this-
20 damage. So if he's Xenon Initiations here, he'll have lethal next turn.
Isn't this just the end of the game? I mean, Xena Initiation on Surso can kill Sandstorm Titan at any point, and then Crystallize is just going to be absolutely disgusting. Or you can just do it with the with the Heart of the Vault. He doesn't even need to use Surso. Surso can hold back everything. And yeah, he's just got Crystallize next turn. Plus, even if he doesn't want to do that, he just has another Seek Power to draw off of Mystic Ascendant again, and 2 more Heart of the Vaults and another Surso. This is just disgusting from David. Qwertzy just got stuck for just a little bit too long, and David drew all his giant bombs.
Yeah, because of Ion, this board, it looks a little bit weird for David. He doesn't actually get his lethal next turn unless he draws. Well, he's going to get a power off of Mystic Ascendant, so that's an 8/8. He's going to stun the whole board. I think this might still be lethal with 8, 15,
Oh, yeah.
23. Yeah, there's enough there. But if Ion gets some lifesteal off, which isn't going to happen, then it's a bit of trouble. Qwertzy saves the day with the Sandstorm Titan. Yeah, that should prevent lethal. Although David might still be very tempted to crystallize here. It's a pretty big swing.
I think he might feel comfortable just playing out his Surso or Heart of the Vault. It's not like he's in any rush, right? There's Qwertzy isn't threatening anything particularly scary. Even if Katra gets through for something, David always has a good block with Surso, and he's going to go for the Crystallize here. Putting Sandstorm Titan, Sandstorm Titan's only going to be able to trade with Heart of the Vault, and then he's just dead next turn.
Yep, there's no blockers available. Qwertzy can find some ways to gain life back, but it looks like David's got this game pretty well sealed. Once he got that third red, that was game over. It just it turned into such a spiral, since he was able to activate not only the card draw off of the Heart of the Vault, but also shut down Qwertzy's own ramp and draw 3 cards. And he won on board, he won on power, he won on card draw, and just basically on every available axis. That one fire pushed him over the edge, and now Qwertzy is just in dire straits.
Yeah, I think Qwertzy needed to draw power earlier in the game. He blanked on power for too many turns. Mystic Ascendant sat as a 4/4, and he just sat there well. The most terrifying board was assembled across the field, and Crystallize came down.
Yep, we see a Stray into Shadow here. That is a card that is really not good in this matchup, and we are instead seeing 20 damage come across for Qwertzy. That's going to be game.
Yep, and so that puts level 13 David at, I believe, 3-2, which puts him still in contention for top 8 if he wins the next match, but it'll be close. He'll have to be doing really well on his breakers.
Yeah, gonna be a tricky round, but hopefully he will. Hopefully we'll see a bit more of that deck. That looks like a lot of fun. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I don't believe we have any additional backup matches queued, so we should be almost ready to go. I think we have one last thing to announce.
Yeah, I guess we should just mention that there's a new tier list on aReNGeeternal.com, as well as a bunch of other cool articles. How often do you guys update aReNGeeternal.com with new articles?
Pretty much daily.
Wow, yeah. So it's definitely your one-stop location for daily Eternal content. I check it all the time. Loco writes articles, and and if you're looking for lists to bring to a tournament like this, there's the tier list there, and there aren't currently stock lists, but that's okay. They'll be coming out soon.
Yeah. So head on over to aReNGee Eternal for a lot of cool articles on strategy, on building new decks, on cool deck techs. We got a lot of cool writers here. Lights Out Ace, me, of course. We've got aReNGee Eternal and Neon Blonde. Lots of very talented writers, talented Eternal players talking about Eternal and giving a lot of cool advice. So yeah, it's well worth showing up for.
All right, and we'll catch you guys in round 6, the final round of Swiss, and then after that, we'll find out our top 8 for this week's Open.
See you guys then.